Hello, I'm Kathy Rogers, Survivor Chair for Howard County. It's my honor this year to introduce our speaker. She's a wife and a mom and a farmer. She hangs out with a lot of rusty relics. But she's also a survivor. And when she got her cancer diagnosis, she faced cancer like she does everything else, with courage and grace and faith and a big smile. It's my privilege to introduce my friend, Lesley White.
'Intention was to get up here and tell my story and talk to y'all without any notes, and I knew I would be a blubbering mess before I got through, so I've got notes, and y'all just bear with me because my notes are truly heartfelt. First of all, I would like to ask Lily Burton to come up to the corner of the stage for me for just a second. I know most of y'all know Lily's story. Lily, do you mind coming up here with me for just a second? Okay. Most of y'all know Lily's story. She's also a cancer survivor. We camped together for several years before Lily was diagnosed, when she was just a little bitty girl. And she's my girl, and I love her. And I want y'all to know, a lot of kids have heroes as they go through their childhood. Well, as an adulthood, this was my hero. For the way she battled her cancer, the way she went through her chemo and her radiation, and Lily had some really hard days, and I never saw her be anything but Lily. She was always the sweet little girl that she was before, and she's my hero, and I just wanted y'all to know that. To God be the glory.
Amen.
Would y'all say that with me? To God be the glory. I feel like I know most of you that are here. I can't really see faces real well right now. But for those of you that don't know me, I'm Lesley White. I'm married to Roger White, and we have 4 kids. Justin and Lindsay White, our oldest son and daughter-in-law, are 23. And they're celebrating their first anniversary this weekend. They got married a year ago this weekend. Justin is the Upper Bound Coordinator of Cossatot College, and Lindsay is the 4-H Program Assistant here for Howard County. We also have twins, Hunter and Hannah White, who are 11, and they attend Nashville Elementary, and they're real involved in summer ball programs and anything that comes along that they think they need to participate in, and we're real proud of these kids. I am a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with breast cancer on November the 10th of 2008 in Texarkana, after a suspicious mammogram and suspicious ultrasound, and then finally a needle biopsy. I had my first mammogram around the age of 20. I had a knot on the left side, and they determined that it was a small cyst and that it was nothing to worry about, and so I didn't. Physically, nothing ever felt different for me, and so I never thought much else about it, and I started having my annual mammograms at the age of 40. Thank goodness. The first 2 were fine in 2006 and 2007, but in the spring of 2008 I felt a knot in my left breast, and it was in the same spot as that cyst was, and my doctor fussed at me on a regular basis when I went for my annual checkups about drinking too much caffeine, and I more or less felt like that was probably why the knot felt larger. I had just lost my mother in January of 2008 due to COPD and congestive heart failure that was probably brought on by years of use of Herceptin for breast cancer. My mom began her battle with breast cancer in February of 1998. She had her left breast removed then, and then the right one in July of 2003, just a few short months after my dad had passed away. Her cancer was stage 3 when they found it the second time, and it was manageable but not curable, and that was the reason that she had the Herceptin for so many years. I was adopted when I was only 3 days old, so my breast cancer wasn't inherited from my mom, but my point is this: you would think of, after having gone through so many years of the cancer process with my mom that I wouldn't have let anything go. I wouldn't have overlooked anything, but I did. I'd been very, very healthy my whole life, and that this might be cancer just was not a possibility for me. Like I said, my kids are real involved with softball and baseball. I was trying to deal with things associated with my mother's death, her belongings and things like that. And I kept thinking that I would go see about this not before the summer was over. They told me I only had to talk 5 or 10 minutes, and somebody told me I've never talked about anything for less than 10 minutes, so y'all just bear with me, okay? I decided I'd go to the doctor as soon as summer was over and the kids were through with ball. And then it was time to go back to school, and then we had scrapper football to think about, and before I knew it, it was October, and that was time for my annual checkup anyway. And that's when I realized the importance of not putting things off. After the biopsy showed that it was in fact cancer in Texarkana, I scheduled an appointment in Little Rock with Dr. Abraham, Dana Abraham, who is absolutely wonderful if any of you ever have a need for her. I had already decided to have a complete mastectomy before I went up there, and had the appointment with her, and the surgery was scheduled, and bras became a thing of the past for me. And I might as well tell you, because if I don't, someone else will. I refused the first surgery date that they gave me because it was on a Friday in late November, and I was not going to miss the Scrapper playoff game. And so it was done on a Monday in early December, right before the finals at War Memorial, so that if the Scrappers got to War Memorial that year, I could be there too. And my surgeon heard me discussing this with her nurse, making the appointment, and she said, "Did I understand you just put this off for a football game?" And I said, "No, you don't understand. This is Scrapper football." "Yes, ma'am, I did put this off." Long story short, the surgery went well, and I began my chemo in February of 2009, and just a little over a year later, I once again have hair, and I was told this spring I was cancer-free. Gray, curly, uncontrollable hair, but I'm thankful for it. I really didn't know how to approach this, and I've prayed about it for the last few weeks, and this was laid on my heart over and over, and what I have done is I have put together a kind of a top 10 list. Look out, David Letterman. And these are things that I have learned, and a lot of things that I already knew, but going through the cancer process just drove them home for me, and I realized the importance of them, and I try to be mindful of them on a regular basis. Number 10, hair is not everything. It is just hair. This was more traumatic for me than I ever dreamed that it would be, but after the shock was over, I realized how much time I was saving, not only having to wash and condition it, but dry and scrunch and curl, and that's not to even mention the money I saved on hair products. Number 9, stay focused on what's important. One of the first things that I said was, this can't be happening. I do not have time for this. I was going through chemo, and I was bald right in the middle of fall season last year. But you know what? I didn't miss not one of Hunter and Hannah's ball games. I was so blessed. I might have missed a practice or two, but it was real important for me to be there. Stay focused on what's important. The day of my first treatment, we were having a revival at church, and I didn't want to miss revival, so I didn't. I had to excuse myself because I was sick a couple of times, but it gave me something to focus on other than being sick. And besides, we were having food and fellowship afterwards, and I was scared I might miss something, and you can ask my family. I'm nosy, and I don't like to be left out of anything, and I don't like to miss nothing. Number 8, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't feel like you have to be Superman or Superwoman. I was very blessed through the 18 weeks of chemo that I went through. I had a treatment every 3 weeks, and I was sick or tired just a day or two of that process. But during those few days, there were times that I had to ask for help with things that ordinarily I wouldn't have. It's not my nature to do that. I like to be hands-on and take care of things, but there's sometimes that you just have to do that, so don't be scared to. Number 7, and this really goes hand in hand with number 8, when people offer to do something for you, let them do it. This was hard for me to do too, but my closest friend, who is here tonight, She's been my best friend for many, many years, and she is my rock. She made me realize the importance of this. When I've been through rough and bumpy places in my life, she's either pushed me or pulled me through them, whichever one I needed. She's been there for me, and this is what she told me. She said, look, this is something that I can't fix. Only God can fix this for you. She said, but you have to let other people do things. She said, do you realize how helpless every one of us feel wanting to do something to take care of this and not able to? You've got to let people help you, Lesley. And it really drove it home for me that people do need to do that. They need to feel needed. Number 6, be supportive through your actions. Reach out to someone whenever it's possible. I've always tried to be mindful of people when they are going through things like this, and to let them know they're being thought of, and to let them know, that you're praying and trying to pray in accordance to God's will, that whatever need be is what's going to take place. But until this time in my life, I don't think I ever really appreciated those people that take the time to go the extra mile and actually do something. The first Sunday that after I had lost my hair and was going to church, I, of course, was going to wear a hat to church. And when I got to Sunday school, everyone else was there because I was late as usual. And when I got there, every woman and child at my church had worn a hat to church that day in support of me. I have a little picture album of it that I keep in my purse. It was one of the most touching things that anybody did. One night I was late for one of my little girl's softball games because Hunter had a game first. And when I got there, every softball mom on my daughter's team had on a pink t-shirt, and our colors were not pink, with the team name on the front of it, and on the back it said, mothers, daughters, sisters, friends, the circle of caring never ends. And that was their